I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And we're certainly talking about a lot of light on today's show, because 2 days ago we just had a full moon at 24 degrees of Cancer. And Cancer rules America and Ukraine and Canada, but it also rules the home and the family, and it rules the traditional fourth house of home and last half of life, so Cancers rule endings. And so the title of tonight's show has a little bit to do with something that's getting pretty close to the end. And that is because the title of tonight's show is Enough is Enough. And the reason for that is that the moon is a passive, gentle planet, but it is being conjuncted very harshly by a planet that's aggressive and warlike and wants to have their own way. Because the full moon on Monday was at 24 degrees of Cancer, and it was conjuncted by Mars. And Mars was retrograde at 27 degrees of Cancer, so they were tightly conjuncting each other. And Mars is not compatible with the moon. Mars has a sense of real urgency or wanting to dominate or compete, and it's in this gentle sign that rules Cancer. So you may be in a big hurry to make up for lost time right now in concerning some sort of a delayed move, Cancer rules moving, or some sort of family matter that hasn't been brought to a satisfactory conclusion, and that is long overdue. And so this pressure of Mars on the moon that occurred under the full moon on Monday, and since the moon rules our feelings, we can all be pretty determined to make sure that if we're unhappy about something, that, it gets cleared up. And so enough is enough. And so that is because there are actually 5 planets in the water signs which are healing, but they also rule all of our feelings and our emotions. And so the full moon and Mars in Cancer had a lot of backup on Monday, and that is because they were being trined beautifully by 3 other planets in Pisces, which were very strong in the sign. And the reason why is that, first of all, Venus, a planet of peacemaking and partnership, was conjuncting Saturn, the planet of time. Both planets were direct in Pisces. And so the moon and Mars were trining them. But the moon and Mars were also trining Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and the lucky north node of the moon was conjuncting Neptune. And Neptune is at 28 degrees of Pisces right now, and the lucky north node of the moon is at 29 degrees of Pisces. It's just entered Pisces, and it travels backwards in a sign. So it's going to get even closer to that Neptune because it'll come up to the 28th degree. And so that'll be great because the north node of the moon indicates a lucky friend. But Pisces is a sign that rules things that are going on behind the scenes. So there is the possibility that you have to sort of make up for lost time regarding some sort of precious dream or even some sort of something that involves the ideal partner. Remember, Venus rules partnership. And it is conjuncting Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of time. So you may have been looking for or searching for or thinking of who would be the perfect partner behind the scenes, and maybe you've been sort of dreaming about that. Well, this full moon would indicate that there would be a sense of urgency, as I said, about making up for lost time regarding a delayed move or something that has to do with a family matter that really is long overdue. It needs to be cleared up. And that is because there is a sense of justice that's going on right now. And it's perfectly natural to feel as if, enough is enough and justice has to be done, because Mars rules Scorpio. And Mars is in Cancer, trining the sign it rules, which is great. And 5 planets are also trining the sign of Scorpio. So a sense of justice is prevailing right now, and that may be why a lot of people are thinking that enough is enough, or they've had it with something, or something's just got to be completed or get done now. And another reason for that is because there are 3 retrograde planets right now, and they are all in successive signs, which means they're their strength is, they're sextiling each other, so their strength is sort of compounding because of that. And that has to do with Uranus, which is retrograde in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed financial sign. So something to do with a delayed move or a long, ongoing family matter could have something to do with financial matters. And since Uranus is a malefic planet and it's retrograde and it's squaring Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto in Aquarius right now, it means that somebody who's in a powerful position and is thinking of the future can be somewhat stymied or challenged now by financial matters that have to be cleared up. And that's why enough is enough. But right in front of that Uranus in Taurus is Jupiter in Gemini, which rules communications and youthful people with youthful attitudes, or younger people who, and anybody who wants to do something part-time or temporary, or who is very good at communicating, or likes to take short travels, or even want to take some short courses, maybe to brush up their skills. Well, with Jupiter in Gemini, those things are highlighted, but the problem is Jupiter is retrograde. And that means that if you missed your chance to do those things, you would have to make up for lost time right now. You'd sort of have to get right in there and communicate a lot more. Or it can be that the communication has been a little fuzzy for one reason or another, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the third planet that is retrograde is that Mars in Cancer. And, you know, the problem with that is that Mars rules two signs. Well, it's in Cancer, a water sign, along with the full moon, and it's trining one of the signs that rules Scorpio. That's why a sense of justice must prevail right now, because all those planets in Pisces are trining Scorpio too. But Mars also rules Aries, and Aries rules new beginnings. And the full moon and Mars, the ruler of Aries, were squaring the sign of Aries. That means that something new that should have gotten off the ground by now has been challenged or stuck, and that could be the result of people coming up with all kinds of excuses right now that just represent old news. I mean, something may not have been resolved, and you could sort of be fed up with that because people have been, these three retrograde planets are all in a row, and they could have been coming up with excuses for why something didn't get done. And that's why perhaps you have not been able to go forward, because somebody else is giving you an excuse about why they can't go forward. And it is just an excuse, and those excuses have worn thin, and that is why enough is enough. But another reason why enough is enough is because time marches on. I mean, you know, Pluto is in Aquarius, the sign of the future. It's actually trining that Jupiter in Gemini. If you've just heard somebody's lame excuse again for why something can't be resolved or can't be done, then I think you're at the point of saying enough is enough and get it done. And even if you have to sort of step in and sort of make sure something gets done, you should do it. Because this is not a time when excuses are going to stretch one more time. Somebody is out of excuses now. And other people who have been somewhat patient and perhaps even foregoing their own wishes behind the scenes in deferment to somebody else who's involved in a delayed move, something that didn't happen, and whether the Cancer rules moving, whether the move involved moving into somewhere or moving out of somewhere, it may have been delayed. There may have been a really lot of good excuses for that, and they've all worn pretty thin right now. That's why enough is enough. It's Mars that's conjuncting the moon. Well, you can't argue with Mars too much because it's so aggressive, and you know, it rules war, and so people have had it. And so I urge you to make up for lost time. If there's something really precious behind the scenes, a precious dream or a precious goal of yours, or a great idea that you've always had, and you've been sitting around waiting for other people who are full of good excuses about why something can't get done, that you need to have done before you can go forward, stop listening and just tell them enough is enough. And, you know, If they won't take care of something, you should, because you really need to go forward. And I don't think any excuses are going to stop you this time, because the aspects in the heavens are such that these excuses that represent delayed news or really great reasons why something can't be done, so that there are people that should be moving on. Time moves on, they should too, but they're sort of weak and they're hanging on. And they would rather drag you down because they don't really care as much about you as they do about themselves. And that's why they're dragging you down. And that's why you hear all the excuses. And you sort of have to cut the cord there and continue on with your own life, because a sense of justice prevails right now. There are 5 planets in water signs. They all trine each other and the sign of Scorpio. So I urge you to think twice, and if there's something that you've had on your mind for a long time and you're absolutely fed up because it hasn't happened yet, and you're thinking, enough is enough, I don't want to listen to one more excuse, then keep going. Keep going. Because as long as you're following your true feelings, or a secret goal or secret dream of yours, this is really the time when you can make it come true. Venus is conjuncting Saturn in Pisces. Things that are going on behind the scenes that could represent the perfect partnership that's been delayed for a long time. But it could happen. The full moon is trining everything in Pisces. And the lucky north node is conjuncting the ruler, Neptune. So it's time to wake up and realize enough is enough, and to simply go forward and follow your fondest dream and make up for lost time, because Neptune is 1 degree away from leaving Pisces, and it retrogrades during the year, but actually its orbit is 146 years before it gets back to really being in Pisces for a long time. And so this is one of your last chances to make a fond dream come true. And you shouldn't let anybody's excuse or anything stop you. Just go for it. At least you can try. And you would be very unhappy for the rest of your life if you didn't try. If you've been thinking of somebody or of doing something for a long time, like, what are you waiting for? You don't need to wait for one more excuse. Those excuses will always be there. So just say goodbye to them and who's giving you them, and go forward. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, your ruler, Mars, and the full moon on Monday were both squaring your sun. And that means, Aries, that you may not get something that you want, or it can represent, at the very least, that there's going to be somewhat of a challenging change to your current plans. And that is because your ruler is squaring your sun, and it's retrograde, and it's conjuncting the full moon. And the full moon and Mars have a lot of backup from the planets in Pisces, but they don't have any backup from your sign. And so, or from any other fire sign. There's nothing in fire signs. And so, Aries, I think that, if you've been sailing along, sort of doing what you want, sort of getting your own way, good luck on that. If you want to keep doing that, and Aries rules the I am, it rules the first house of self, so you could be very concentrated on what you want to do right now. But if you have a fond dream behind the scenes, Pisces is right behind your sun sign, and it's beautifully aspected right now. This is the time to do something about it, Aries. And you may not be successful yourself. So it might be a better idea for you to sit down and ask yourself how badly you really want something. And, if you don't want it that bad, let it go. And if you do want it that badly, you're already pretty late. And you're going to need to think of some other way, other than whatever else you've been doing, to accomplish some sort of goal that you've had behind the scenes. And I would say that you will not succeed by just using force or using command or moving fast. Now that is what Mars rules, but Mars is not aspecting your sun favorably right now. And it is aspecting the sign of Scorpio, the other sign that it rules. It's trining that. And that means there justice, a sense of justice prevails right now. And in a funny kind of way, Aries, it means you can't have it all your own way. And you will have to try to bend a little bit or sort of catch up with something, I think. And if you feel you really want to do that, then you're going to have to get to work. And it'll be a bit of an uphill climb. You're going to have to work a little harder at that than you think. On the other hand, if you're really sitting back and thinking about, oh, gee, I can live without that, I've got something better down the road, then go for that, because that would be easy. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, Taurus, one of the 3 retrograde planets is in your sign. It's Uranus. It's been in your sign for 6 years. Briefly, on July 7th, it will leave your sign and go into Gemini, where it's really going to perk up because it's going to be trining Pluto in Aquarius then. And that's America's rising sign. But it won't stay there. It's going to come back into your sign. And the irony about all that going back and forth, Taurus, is that by the end of the year, Taurus, Uranus is only going to be 4 degrees away from where it was at the end of 2024. So what I'm saying is, Taurus, you may be wanting to do several different things and somewhat quickly, and your finances are going to fluctuate this year as well too, but you're not going to end up too much further on than you were last year, because your Uranus is only going to end up 4 degrees further on than it was in December of 2024. It's crazy. It's just going back and forth. It isn't going to do you much good, is what I'm trying to say, Taurus, because it'll stay in your sign for another year. And so this is a time when you best not give yourself or anyone else any excuses for why something can't get done. Because one, they're tired of listening to that, so they're not going to listen anymore. And I would think that that would just cost you money, more money. And so if you're thinking, well, if I give them another excuse, I can save some money, or I can do what I want here, well, they're not going to buy it, Taurus. And so if I were you, I'd sit down and take a real careful look at your finances and realize that if you were thinking of downsizing a little bit, or selling something, or paying off your bills, or just reducing your lifestyle a little bit so that it wouldn't be quite so expensive, you know, you probably would be rather happy with that, Taurus. And there are several times when the sign of Virgo is going to be highlighted this year. There's 2 eclipses in Virgo and another new moon in Virgo, and they all trine your sun. But you can't get ready for the future if you're still stuck in the past, Taurus. And so you're going to, I'm not saying that you're going to make too much progress this year, but I'm saying that if you have any kind of financial worries, you really need to do something about them right now and cut your costs. Because Uranus is going to stay in your sign for another year, and that's a malefic, unstable planet that's very volatile. You still don't know what's going to be happening with your finances. And Taurus rules the New York Stock Exchange. Do you see what I mean? You should really sort of shore up your own financial situation and lock it down. And that's enough to do this year, Taurus. You don't have to do anything else. But if you're not in a secure, real secure financial position, you need to get into that as quickly as possible without uttering one more excuse for why you can't do that, because those excuses are not selling with anybody right now. They're old news. You might be surprised that somebody walks up to you and just says, enough is enough. Well, you don't want to put yourself in that position, do you, Taurus? And therefore, just take a look at your own finances and your own costs and, make sure you're just in control of that. And if there was going to be a financial storm sometime this year, you would want to be in a really safe position so you could ride it out well, Taurus. And you may not quite be in that position right now, so you need to think about that a little bit more right now. because Pluto in Aquarius is going to be squaring your sun for years. And so if you don't try to shore up your own financial situation and sort of downsize a little bit, you may make yourself vulnerable to not being able to accept offers in the future. And you don't want to enjoy today by cutting off tomorrow, the possibilities for tomorrow. Don't do that. That won't work for you at all. Because tomorrow is ruled by Aquarius, and Pluto is going to be squaring your sun for years to come. You have to sort of not count on the people that used to be there to back you up, because they're not going to be there. Pluto's not going to be in Capricorn the way it was for almost 20 years, backing you up the whole time. Those days are over. So anyway, I don't mean to be getting too strict with you, Taurus, but you have to. The title of the show is Enough is Enough, and every one of us has got to sort of get down to facing what's bothering us and then doing something about it. Nothing wrong with that. It means you're being a little more honest with your true feelings, and you should be. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, Jupiter is retrograde in your sign. And so if you are coming up with a good excuse for anything, Gemini, or if you've just been kidding yourself about something, oops, those days are over. And you'll have to live with the way things are right now, Gemini. And Jupiter is about to leave your sign, not now, but it's going to leave your sign on June 10th and go into Cancer. And so, and it'll be Venus will be coming into your sign before Jupiter leaves. You know, you're going to have a great summer, Gemini. You really are. But are you ready for change? Or do you still have some strings or some ties to the past that are sort of worn out? In other words, you've done them before, you know how to do them, the thrill is gone, but you're still doing them. And you really should take on new challenges this year, Gemini, and sort of get yourself up to speed so you can do that. And the reason why is that Pluto is in Aquarius, and it's going to be trining your sun for years. And so every time any planet gets in an air sign, it'll be either conjuncting or trining your sign. You're going to have all kinds of opportunities to advance. And Geminis can do things very quickly when they need to. And that's why I'm saying, if you're just holding on to something because it's familiar, you know, enough is enough of that, Gemini. You got to be looking more toward the future. And I'm sure you still have dreams that or worlds that you haven't conquered, or things you'd like to do, or places you'd like to go, or people you'd like to meet. And I wish you'd concentrate on that. And don't let the past hold you back. That's what I'm saying, Gemini. Realize you can take all the talent from your past, and you can apply it to something new if you want to. That would be a very good use of your talent as well, so I hope you think about it. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Oh, Cancer, the full moon on Monday was in your sun sign along with Mars. Ooh, that Mars was at 27 degrees and the full moon was at 24 degrees. That's a pretty tight conjunction. You could be in a big hurry, Cancer, to make up for lost time. And that could be because for quite a long time you have had some sort of secret desire or secret ambition behind the scenes, or secret dream, something that you always wanted to do, and you know you may have been making the excuse of, oh well, someday I'll do that. Well, nobody's getting any younger, Cancer. Someday is today, and that is because you've got to just keep going. Jupiter's about to come into your sun sign on June 10th, and that is absolutely going to be amazing. You're going to have Jupiter in your sun sign for a whole year, Cancer. And right now, that full moon, along with Mars, we're both trining all the planets in Pisces. You're actually under very good aspects right now, Cancer. And that is because Mars rules Scorpio, so it's trining the sign it rules, along with the moon, trining Scorpio. But the moon and Mars in your sign are trining Venus and Saturn, which are tightly conjuncting in Pisces, which means a fond dream that you have had for a long time could come true. But you're going to have to do something about it. I think that's why Mars is conjuncting your own ruler. It's because it's like saying to you, hey, get up and get going. Cancers are a little bit passive. Rules endings. You could certainly be looking at an ending right now, and I would say it is long overdue. And that is because you probably have heard every excuse in the world why something didn't conclude or it wasn't finalized or something like that, and enough is enough. And you know it, Cancer. You know enough is enough. Cancers have a gentle nature, and they are not they don't have explosive personalities. They're not going to, they're not going to run up and do anything real aggressive or warlike or anything like that. And yet Mars is an aggressive planet, and maybe it's trying to light a little fire under you, Cancer, and just say, hey, how long are you going to take a million excuses about why somebody else wants to use you or somebody else wants to take advantage of you? And you've heard every excuse in the world, and they're still coming up with them. And that limits your freedom, Cancer, to do what you want to do. And you somewhere in your life, I don't know if it's in your work life or if it's in your home life, your family life, your private life, your school life, I don't know where it is, but you have sort of a concept of a perfect partner or some really nice, good thing that you'd like to see happen, and you probably have been thinking about that for years, Cancer, because Saturn and Neptune Saturn has been in Pisces for a couple of years, but Neptune's been in trining your sun for 12 years in Pisces, and now it's getting ready to leave. And so what you need to do is just figure out that enough is enough. Maybe you're not going to go out and hit somebody over the head or be bombastic toward them, but how hard is it to say, Cancer? All you have to say is enough is enough. And if somebody else is not listening, or they think that they can get away with one more excuse, you need to turn your back on them. I mean, that's why Mars is energy. You need to put a little energy into something where you can make up for lost time regarding a delayed move, or regarding some family matter that just never gets concluded because there's always a good reason why that can't happen. Well, that's not true, Cancer. Somebody's stringing you along because they're weaker than you are. And Mars conjuncting the moon in your sign means that, you got a little more backbone than you usually do. Because that Mars is making that happen. It can make you get in touch with your real feelings. And Venus and Saturn and Neptune and the lucky north node of the moon from Pisces are all trining that. And together they're all trining the sign of Scorpio. So I think right now, Cancer, you may be feeling that a sense of justice should prevail. Not later, right now. And enough is enough. You have a right to your happiness too, Cancer. It's just that you can't take every freeloader along with you, or everybody that wants to use you. You don't need to be somebody else's doormat, Cancer. You need to figure out how you're going to make a dream of yours come true. Maybe you've been listening to all those excuses, and that's given you an excuse not to go forward. Cancers are shy. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, though, Cancer. And Jupiter's coming into your sign. Your life is due to expand this year, and you should not be running away from that. You should just go straight forward. Or at least, whoever's been stringing you along, or whoever's been using you, or whoever's been giving you some sort of line, you just have to say enough is enough. And if they don't hear you the first time, don't even repeat it. Just leave. They'll get the message. And your survival's important too, Cancer. Cancers have very nurturing hearts. They tend to want to provide for others. They like to feed the world, and they're good cooks. So what I'm saying is you're walking into a year when it can be a whole year of expansion for you when Jupiter comes into your sign. And why aren't you ready for it? You've got to get ready, Cancer. And that comes by not listening to one more excuse that weak people are giving you in order to incapacitate your dreams. Because they're not strong enough or talented enough to make their own come true, so they lean on you instead. And you're not a hitching post. You're a human being. And I think right about now, with Mars conjuncting your ruler, the moon, I think somewhere in your life, Cancer, you're feeling enough is enough, and you mean it. So hold the thought. It'll do you a lot of good. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, when you can be faced with choices, and the choices have to do with something in the background of your life. And that is because the full moon in Cancer on Monday, 2 days ago, was conjuncted by Mars, and they are both right behind your sun sign. So that's the background of your life, the sign behind your own. And there could be trouble in paradise, Leo, because something isn't going the way you think it should. And you could be, if it has anything to do with finances and you're a little bit upset about that, if you feel you're in the right, you should try to get some legal help or legal advice on that. But if you just feel like, oh, the world owes me a living, you could be really kidding yourself right now, Leo, about that. There aren't any planets in the fire signs. Your sign doesn't have any backup. Neither does Aries or Sagittarius right now. And Mars was behind your sun sign along with the full moon. And they were really well fortified by all the planets in Pisces. So there's something in the background of your life, Leo, that needs cleaning up. Or it needs resolution and conclusion. And the longer you wait, I think the less tolerant other people will be. In other words, there can be a lot of people that are, they're trying to make up for lost time. They want their life to go on. They're anticipating a better future. And your sign is looking at challenges. And you can't blame that on other people. You have to take the reins and you have to say, okay, I'm going to work on this myself. Because Pluto in Aquarius is going to be opposing your sun sign for years, and that means people in positions of power are thinking of the future, and they're not thinking of taking you with them, Leo. They're going to sort of want to blast off on their own. And this could cost you money because Uranus is in Taurus, and it's squaring your sun, and it's a malefic planet. So you have two very powerful planets challenging your sun sign, and there's nothing in any of the fire signs, and Mars is right in the background of your life, meaning that there is a home or a family problem or something that involves a move that is problematic. And it's not going to get any better, Leo. You've got to, there's a sense of justice that is prevailing now, and a lot of people are saying enough is enough. Not one more excuse, not one more delay. Enough is enough. People are feeling very strongly about that right now because Mars is conjuncting the moon, and the moon rules our feelings. And Mars stirs things up. And Mars is not happy in Cancer, let me tell you. Cancer's a laid-back sign. But we have to deal with what's around. And so, Leo, you will have to face the music about something that needs resolution. And either somebody has been unfair to you, or you've just been dragging your feet and not concluding a matter that really needs some attention right now. And, a funny kind of a way, you're not in the driver's seat because there's nothing in the fire signs. But that doesn't mean that you yourself cannot be pretty tired of all the excuses that have been going on. Maybe you think that, oh, gee, something doesn't add up here. Why are all these excuses around? Why aren't people just being a little bit more straightforward? So you may have to dig deep to solve a problem right now, Leo, but your life isn't going to straighten out until the problem straightens out. So you should do that. Because I don't see you going too far forward in your future until a problem from the past, remember Mars is right behind your sun sign, gets solved. And so you may have to concentrate on that a little bit more. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when you can be looking around at things happening right now, and you can be thinking, gee, I think there's something a little bit off balance, or something isn't right, or something isn't, it isn't just that it isn't adding up. Your sign rules accounting, so you're always pretty concerned with how things add up. But there isn't anything in your sign, Virgo, and there's only one planet in an earth sign right now. It's Uranus in Taurus, and it is trining your sun, but it's retrograde right now. And that would tend to indicate, Virgo, that you need to go back and rethink some financial plan or idea that you have that is somewhat being threatened by future changes that other people can make. The reason why I say that is because Uranus in Taurus, which is trining your sun, is by itself being squared by Pluto in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules the future. And there's some financial situation that you should look at a little bit more closely, Virgo. And the reason why is that you are seeing it with yesterday's eyes. And it could be something that's very familiar to you, that you're sort of used to looking at. And the problem, the mistake that so many of us are making are that we are not looking at how the world is changing. And we are thinking things will remain the same. And that is, if you cling to the past, that is that's a false assumption. That's not true anymore. Well, and this is very hard for an earth sign to understand, because for years Pluto was in Capricorn trining your sun and trining the sign of Taurus, and then it was in Capricorn, which made Capricorn sort of steady as a rock. Okay, and that's gone. Okay, Pluto's not there anymore. And so the backup that you have been used to for at least the last, say, 15, 20 years in your career, that backup is gone. And it's not really coming back. And so that's why I'm saying, if you are looking at a situation with yesterday's eyes, or thinking it will be the same as it was in the past, that is not true. And that could cost you money, Virgo, because things are changing. And Virgos are really good at managing money, not so much at managing the money, but of knowing where it is. They're good at accounting, okay? Scorpios are very good money managers, but Virgos know where every penny is. And for you to assume that it's going to stay that way, or that the money that's coming into you is going to keep coming in the same old way, that is a false assumption. And it isn't your fault. It isn't anybody's fault. It's that the world is changing. Time is marching on. Pluto is in an air sign, a creative air sign that rules the future. And so I'm not saying that you have to jump into the future, but I would suggest that you stop looking and taking everything for granted as if whatever was done in the past is going to be good enough for the future. I don't think it all is, Virgo. And you'll have to adjust. And my suggestion is that you get on top of that. And you start looking around for, okay, how are things changing now? What do I like? What do I not like? And sort of wake up a little bit more. Come out of the past, is what I'm saying. And be prepared for a future, your future, that is due to change this year. Because there are 2 eclipses in your sign and a new moon in your sign. Now, they could change for the better, quite a bit for the better. That's why I'm urging you to not just look at everything that happened yesterday, but maybe at least look at the talents that you've gained from everything that you've done so far, and ask yourself how you can apply it in a new way to the future. At least consider that, okay? All right, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time, Libra, when I think that you can feel as if you're sort of got one foot in one lifestyle or one way to spend your time, and another foot in what you'd rather be doing or what you really like to do more, and these two arenas aren't really coming together very well right now. Okay, what you can do, but what you'd like to do instead. And the reason why they're not coming together too well is because the full moon and Mars 2 days ago on Monday squared your sun. And so that's not too good. It means that you could be a little bit conflicted about what to do in a real estate matter. Cancer rules real estate, residential real estate, or in a home matter or some sort of family matter. You could be a little bit torn about what to do, and you could be thinking, well, I know I should do something, but I'm not sure what yet. And so at least you should consider the possibilities of what you would like to do in the future, and concentrate a little bit more on your future than on your past. And the reason why is that you have a very powerful planet trining your sun for years to come. And that's going to do you a world of good, Libra. And it is Pluto in Aquarius, which is trining your sun. And Aquarius rules the future, and Pluto rules influential people. And you're aspected to meet a lot of them. And that's why you better not just be doing the same old thing all the time. Try new things, Libra. You can meet new people. That would, there's a whole wonderful world out there that you haven't met yet. And, you know, Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius in our lifetimes. We don't really know what's going to come out of all this, but Aquarius does rule the future, and Pluto rules people in upper management, and that's going to do you a lot of good, and Gemini, a lot of good. And then your ruler, Libra, is Venus. And Venus is sort of sitting pretty right now, but in a quiet, almost hidden way. And so that could be happening in your life somewhere. There could be something pretty nice happening to you, but it's sort of behind the scenes, because that's where Venus is. Venus is in Pisces. It's at 11 degrees, and it is conjuncting Saturn at, I think, 16 degrees now. They're 5 degrees apart, and they're going to get closer and closer and closer, but they are conjuncting right now in Pisces, which rules things hidden behind the scenes. Well, the ruler is there, Neptune, and the lucky north node of the moon as well. So Venus is in very good company right now, is what I'm telling you. And it's being fortified by the full moon and Mars in Cancer, which are trining it, and it's got a ton of other good planets in Pisces, but Saturn is conjuncting it. And so, Libra, something that is meant to be, even if you can only see a glimmer of it behind the scenes, I'd pay attention to that, because if it's meant to be, you should be working a little harder on it, because it's your ruler that's conjuncting Saturn. Saturn is a planet of delay and obstruction and of time, but also of hard work and rewards and respect. And it rules old age, but it rules the rewards from working hard too. And so you might try to modify your talents, or the talents that you've developed in your life. You might try to modify them and ask yourself how you can be using them toward a long-held goal or dream of yours. Because you'll certainly have the opportunity to do that almost right now. Maybe you're just on a sort of a daily treadmill routine, doing the same thing year in, year out, and you're not realizing that it's your own ruler that's now conjuncting Saturn, and that means that after a very long delay, the perfect partner is around. They're behind the scenes, though. It doesn't mean that that's all going to burst out right now, but something you've been longing for, or someone that you really care about, or something that has been reminiscent, even of something painful in your life, that you've been sort of holding in for a long time. There could be sort of something coming along that makes the pain melt away. And that's because Cancer is a healing sign. All the water signs are healing, and that full moon was in Cancer. It squares your sun, but your ruler is being conjuncted by Saturn, which means that something that might have been an obstruction or caused some sadness in your life is, I would say, truly healed. Or it could be. If you sort of meet up with the right person, or you go forward now. Some people cling to their pain, and it becomes a habit to do it. And that in itself becomes an excuse for not moving forward in their lives. And so after a while, you have to figure it's you that's holding yourself back. And when are you going to stop that? Because someone or something or some situation or some dream you've had is closer than you think. And this is, your ruler is conjuncting Saturn. It is beautifully placed, but it's behind the scenes. And you have to do something about that, Libra. Or else you're just going to give yourself the same old excuse. What good is that? We're all going toward tomorrow. Pluto in Aquarius, which rules tomorrow, is trining your sun. Even if you wanted to live in the past, Libra, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. So get going. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, excuse me, still have that little cold. This is a time, Scorpio, remember when I said that the sense of justice prevails now. And that's because Mars is in Cancer. It's your ruler, along with the full moon on Monday, and they both trined your sun. But in addition, another malefic planet, Saturn, was in Pisces, conjuncted by Venus, wonderful planet, and they were trining your sun. And so is Neptune, the ruler of the sign, and it's being conjuncted by the lucky north node of the moon. And that would happen, it's probably never happened in our lifetimes. Because the north node of the moon takes 18 years to get around a chart. Okay, fine. But Neptune takes 146. The chances of those two meeting up exactly where they are right now, I think this is a new one for us. And so you've got the lucky north node of the moon conjuncting the ruler of the sign, Neptune, which rules dreams. And Neptune is direct. It's not retrograde. Nothing in Pisces is retrograde. Venus isn't retrograde. Saturn isn't retrograde. Neither is the north node of the moon. And you've got all that going for you. The only thing that's retrograde is Mars, and it's trining your sun. So you, Scorpio, are one of the people that may be feeling that enough is enough. Now that is very strange for a Scorpio to feel like, okay, I've had it. Because Scorpio rules patience. And I think you're out of patience right now. You may have been patiently waiting and waiting and waiting for someone or something pretty precious to you behind the scenes to come forward, and so that you could join up with them. And if that hasn't happened by now, you could be saying to yourself, oh, I'm tired of waiting. Enough is enough. And I don't blame you. And your ruler, Mars, is trining your sun. And so your feelings can be stirred up. That's what Mars does. It stirs up, particularly when it's conjuncting the moon, which rules our feelings. It stirs up our feelings. But why don't you think a little bit more about the different reasons why something hasn't happened and why you're fed up and enough is enough. And part of it could be that you yourself were going in so many different directions that maybe you never slowed down enough to be in one place long enough for something somebody to meet, or for you to get together with somebody. Maybe that didn't happen. Maybe your schedule was, really busy. Or maybe you were waiting for them to do all the work. And Scorpio is a sign of discipline. They don't really waste their energy very much. If they're doing something, they sort of make it work. It's not so much the time that they make work, it's that they make their actions. They're very disciplined in their actions. And so you could have been pretty busy on a lot of different things and always said, oh, well, I really wish that would come true, but never made any effort yourself to make that happen. And so for you to say enough is enough, all I can say, Scorpio, is there might be somebody else that's thinking the same way, that enough is enough, because you didn't come forward. Or you didn't make the extra effort. Maybe you're too busy. Scorpios are terribly disciplined. But the point is, if you didn't make an effort, but you're thinking it's all their fault, and that they didn't make the effort, then, and both of you are thinking, enough is enough, well, I would say you're letting something pretty precious go by. And it's not just a little precious. It would be somebody who was the perfect partner, not just any old partner. And because Venus is conjuncting Saturn and trining your sun. And it would have been that person probably cared about you, and they waited a long time too. But if you're both feeling like enough is enough, then something is probably really over, and you may regret that for the rest of your life, Scorpio. So if I were you, I'd change my tune. Make an effort. Slow down. Whatever you're doing, you can rearrange your schedules to take the time to follow your dream. This full moon accentuates our home and our families and people that can be moving in or out. And that certainly would benefit you, Scorpio, in one way or another. And that is because Jupiter is coming into Cancer on June 10th. And it's going to be trining your sun for a whole year. That's going to be real good for you, Cancer. And I'm not talking about work. I'm talking about how you can be at home and who could be there with you. And if you tie up loose ends from the past and you stop listening to other people's excuses about a delayed move or a family matter that just can't get resolved because they say it can't get resolved, if you just say, look, I've had it, enough is enough, I'm going forward anyway, and just do it. But if you're using the excuse, oh, well, somebody else didn't do it, so I'm not going to, well, then how sincere are you? Did you really care? Are you just playing a game in life? Or do you really thinking about your happiness and somebody else's? But this isn't just anybody. This is the perfect partner. The one that you've been thinking about for a long time, Scorpio. This person is not new to you. and they're not your best buddy or anything. They're somebody that you may not really have ever met. So I would say you got about 3 seconds left to make an effort, Scorpio, because Neptune will be gone. It'll come back later on in the year, but this is a time when excuses, whether you're making an excuse or somebody else is making an excuse to you, none of the excuses are new. They're old news. They shouldn't be listened to. If people are saying enough is enough, this is exactly the right time to be saying it. Even nice people get upset sometimes. And patient people like Scorpios, even they run out of patience. And generally when a Scorpio runs out of patience, the door is closed. That's the end of it. That's how patient they are. They'll wait forever. Only when forever gets here, they're done. So I wish you the best of luck, Scorpio. A sense of justice prevails right now that can do you a lot of good, as long as you're facing the truth about what's really in your heart, or what you're dreaming, or who you're dreaming about, and you do something about it. Because it's more than just you that's saying enough is enough. There are a lot of people that are just saying, okay, this can't go on. This is not going to be the way I'm going to live the rest of my life. Or maybe it's that some people are thinking, I'm done waiting because I have a life and I want to live it. And nothing wrong with that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, there isn't anything in the fire signs right now. And Jupiter in Gemini, and Jupiter's your ruler, is one of the planets that's retrograde right now, and it's opposing your sun sign. So you might get a delayed message, and it could involve some sort of excuse why something can't be done at this time. And I would say, Sagittarius, maybe you're thinking enough is enough because you've heard excuses like that for a long time, and you're probably tired of that. But on the other hand, Sagittarius, Jupiter is about to move. It's retrograde right now, and it's with two other planets that are sort of next door to it, and they're both retrograde. And so if you're thinking you can change the world right now, Sagittarius, I would say I doubt it. And it's not your fault. It's that not everybody's looking forward. There are people that are relying on old excuses to not go forward because it's an advantage to them. And particularly if they can be using somebody else. So that's an advantage. Or else it's that they're too weak to go forward themselves. But if I were you, Sagittarius, I'd hold tight. Because Jupiter's going to move out of Gemini. And it is, as I said, it's your ruler. And it's going to go into Cancer on June 10th. And that's not that far away. And gee, once it goes into Cancer, it's going to have a very beneficial effect on a lot of things. It's going to be real happy in Cancer. And so it's going to make you happier. There is a possibility you could move. It could be a little closer to this summer once Jupiter gets into Cancer, because Cancer rules moving. So that would make you happy. But for right now, if people are giving you excuses, or it's a little bit hard to make contact with others right now, that could be more of a blessing than a curse, Sagittarius, because other people are having problems too. And so if they have their minds on their own problems, and you have your mind on problems, it's sort of hard to get together. And there are 4 planets in Pisces that are all squaring your sun right now. Venus and Saturn and Neptune are 3 planets, and then the lucky north node of the moon is also in Pisces. And so I would say that whatever you're wanting right now, Sagittarius, it's a little bit beyond your reach. Okay? But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. The reason why it can be beyond its reach is because there can be old news or old excuses that other people are either dishing out or they're getting from other people, and this is creating sort of a set of false values right now, or false expectations. And you could be a victim of that a little bit, Sagittarius, but I would say, try a new hobby or something like that, because I think you're going to do pretty well for the year. You have to keep concentrating just on what you want to do, Sagittarius. So it's going to take some concentrated effort on your part, and you must never give up. Never lose faith in yourself. This year is going to end up better than you think for you. But don't take your eyes off the ball. The ball is you and what you do and who you talk to and how you spend your time and where you go. So it's not selfish for you to be concentrating on your own future. Everybody should be concentrating on their future. Pluto is in the sign of the future. It's going to have a profound effect on everybody in the world. And Pluto sextiles your sun. It's not hurting you. So I would say, Sagittarius, okay, if you can't reach out and connect with a lot of other people, or you're tired of listening to their excuses, I would say that's a blessing in disguise, and just write them off. But keep going yourself on what you want to do, because the year's going to end up much better than you think, as long as you just steady on. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, Capricorn, that full moon on Monday in Cancer, along with Mars conjuncting that full moon, we're opposing your sun sign. Okay, so you could be very busy at home. You could be thinking enough is enough, because you may have been so busy that you're sort of fed up with everything you've been doing for other people, and you haven't exactly been able to concentrate too much on what you want to do. And I think that this can be measured in time. It may be that you haven't had the time to sit down quietly and really think of how you can be planning your new year. And so I wish I could say that you can get away from that pretty soon and you can concentrate a little bit more on your own goals, and I think you can going forward. Remember, January is actually going to end better than it started. And so, just have faith that you will reach a period of time when you can take a little break and just think about how you want to progress this year. And the reason why it's important for you to carve out that quiet time for yourself, Capricorn, is because there are eclipses in Virgo this year, and every single one of them trines your sun. And so there's going to be changes in the healthcare field. There are going to be changes in occupations that serve the community. There's going to be changes in banking. And so you need to sit down and sort of put a pencil to your financial situation, Capricorn, and try to streamline it a little bit. Try to keep it simple this year, so that when big changes are made at a higher level than you are, that you are somewhat well prepared or not affected at all by the big changes, because you've already spent a little bit of time sort of smoothing things out in your own life, or streamlining them to make your life a little bit easier for you. And I don't think the holidays have given you that chance, but that chance is coming up now. And so, things will quiet down. And that's when you can just sit down and say, I've been meaning to do this, and I've been meaning to do that, and I want to take a look at these different financial matters. And as long as you simplify them, you will be well positioned to take advantage of the changes that are occurring in Virgo, all of which will trine your sun this year. They will be modest changes. Virgo rules modesty. But you add enough of those up, and you could be pretty happy with the results by the end of the year, Capricorn. Just think about it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when I think that that full moon in Cancer, along with Mars there, we're 150 degrees away from your sun, or what we call in conjunct. And that means the full moon may not have a big effect on you, Aquarius, but Pluto in your sign is certainly having a big effect on you. And the fact that Uranus in Taurus is squaring that Pluto right now, and Taurus is a fixed financial sign, can mean that there can be a financial quandary or problem in your investments. Taurus rules investments, but also in some sort of home matter or family matter that isn't really running smoothly right now. And you may feel, Aquarius, that, gee, this is a little bit beyond my power. I can't fix it, and I don't know how to get it fixed, because it's a little bit out of my reach. And I would say, Aquarius, if you are having any financial problems yourself, or you're anticipating any, such as taxes that always come up in the spring that we all have to pay, then I would suggest that you use a quiet time to, use a little shoe leather and go get some helpful advice from different sources. But ask the same question each time you go to a new source, and see if you get the same answers. You sort of want to test the answers of the people that you're seeking information from to see how closely they align with each other, so that that will give you further guidance on, okay, well, if everybody's saying this, I should do this, then maybe I should. But just get different opinions, and that way you'll be better positioned to handle your financial matters as time goes on. Now, the reason that's really important for you by July is because on July 7th, Uranus does leave Taurus. It's going to go back later on in the year, but it's going to leave Taurus and go into Gemini and immediately trine your sun where you have Pluto. It will be an exact trine. And so if you have any financial questions or problems or the way you're setting something up, go around and get good, and taxes, go around and get good advice and handle all that before July. Because once Uranus, which is your own sun sign ruler, Aquarius, gets into Gemini, at that first degree of Gemini, or second degree, it's going to trine Pluto in your own sign exactly. This will never have happened to you or anybody else that we know about. And the reason why is we don't know what Pluto in Aquarius really means. We don't have a history on that. And so, but I can guarantee you it's going to be wonderful for you this summer. And that is why I'm saying, clean up your life a little bit, Aquarius. Get your bookwork straightened out, or throw away old papers if you don't need them anymore, or get good advice about how to handle things, so that you yourself are a little bit freer by July for something new that comes along, and it could come along right out of the blue, and it would be heavenly. It would be just what would make you happy. It might be a job that you've never thought of, but somebody else is thinking about it, and you could do it. And then when Uranus goes back into Taurus, okay, so it'll stay there for another year, squaring your sun, but then it'll go into Gemini for 7 years, and it will trine your sun for 7 years, and those will be the 7 happiest years of your life. And all I'm saying is, carefully go around and get good advice right now. You got to set yourself up a little bit better for the unknown, which is coming up in your life, Aquarius, but you're going to love it. I'm sorry, I can't tell you what's involved, but I can tell you when it's coming. And you're not quite ready for that yet, so I hope you get ready. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, Pisces, when I think in a way you're sitting really pretty. First of all, the full moon and Mars, which was retrograde in Cancer on Monday, both trined your sun. And Mars rules Scorpio, so Mars was trining Scorpio, and so was the moon. And so that meant that a sense of justice prevails right now, because that's what Scorpio rules. And you're sort of sitting pretty to make sure that happens on your behalf right now, Pisces. And the reason why is that Venus is in your sign, and it is now conjuncting Saturn in your sign. And Saturn is a planet of obstruction and delay, but also a planet of reward. And it rules time. So something that you have been wanting or thinking about, or it could be a person, it could be a new partner. It would be the ideal partner. It would be the best partner you'd ever come across. That can be, after many long delays or doubt, Saturn rules doubt, on your part, I think the questions are answered, and there can be somebody around who's just right for you, and they are just right for the rest of your life, Pisces. They're going to be around a long time. Maybe it's because it's taken so long to realize that they were the right one. And because, we all have false starts this year, we all make mistakes in our lives. We're human, we do that. But after a while, you learn from your mistakes. And that's sort of where you are right now, Pisces. The lucky north node of the moon is conjuncting your ruler. And so Neptune is direct, and it's at 28 degrees, and it's conjuncting the north node of the moon, which is a lucky friend. So this person who might be your perfect partner, I think they're coming into your life, Pisces, or you know about them. Maybe you've never met them, but you know about them. And, you know, it's important to get together after a very long delay, or a lot of doubt, or your sign rules dreams. And it's possible that even for you, Pisces, you might have had a little bit of a hard time thinking that a precious dream of yours could really come true. Maybe you would be thinking about all the different excuses and reasons why it couldn't come true. Well, if you spent your whole time thinking about everything that couldn't happen, when are you going to positively turn around and think about what could happen and go for it? You know, doubt is a dark corner. Don't go there. Cut the doubts, Pisces. And I think you are sitting in an enviable position to make a dream come true. And it is with someone who is just right for you. Now, I didn't say that they're perfect, and I didn't say that you're perfect. I said they were just right for you. Venus conjunct Saturn, with Neptune there, all being trined by the Moon and Mars. A sense of justice prevails. That means that whoever is just right for you, in a funny kind of a way, Pisces, you've earned them. And they've earned you. And the point is that you should do something about that, because it could last for the rest of your life. And it could make quite a difference to others, future family members. You know, that it's important that you realize that whoever you had sort of in a secret place in your heart, or you were making a secret wish about, and you may have had a lot of doubt, and you know the good of this person and the good of yourself are what is turning that doubt into some sort of certainty that will last as long as you do. It will outlast you, actually. Whatever you and this partner are going to do, it's going to last longer than you are. It must be something real good. Well, that's all right. Oh, that's why they're so good for you. It's because somewhere in their heart, they're a dreamer too. And, you know, all the money in the world can't really buy love, or the goodness that other people have in their hearts. So money and love, or greed and love, have nothing to do with each other. And if you meet up with somebody that has even half as much love for you as you do for them, and vice versa, stick close, Pisces. They'll be with you forever. And it could make such a difference for whoever comes after you. For some reason, that's going to make a bigger difference than you may even be able to envision at this time. But remember, the world is always changing. And somehow this partnership is going to have a profound effect on somebody else going forward. And they will be guided. They will be guided by you and whoever this perfect partner is. And that's all that matters. So good luck. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you for the new subscribers, and I hope you tell your friends about the show. Sorry this took a little bit longer, but it is a new year and we've got to get ready for it. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you right back here next week for STARBORN. Bye.